Welcome to GNGF Live, your bi-weekly Ask the Experts about all things law firm marketing and business growth. I'm Mark Homer, author of Online Law Practice Strategies and founder of Get Noticed, Get Found. If you're watching this live, Josh and I are actually on a plane heading to the ABA Tech Show, so we previously recorded this a few days ago to stream during our regular show time. If you're also going to be at the ABA Tech Show, let us know in the comments, as we'd love to meet up, IRL or in real life. Okay, back to the show. So when speaking around the country, providing marketing strategy, consultation calls with law firms, this GNGF live show, and answering questions that come in from people reading our book, we get a lot of questions from law firm owners about their marketing. So Josh Means is one of our awesome marketing consultants here at GNGF, and he's joining me today because he's put together a list of the top questions or concerns we hear from lawyers. If we're hearing a lot of these questions, there's a good chance that you may have the same question. As always, be sure to like and subscribe to our page, not just the video, so you can get it updated when our next episode goes live. Of course, it never hurts for you to show a little love and smash that like button on the video right now. Even though we're on a plane, we do have moderators in the chat, so please ask questions and interact while we're live. Joe, it is kind of funny talking about being on a plane with us. Yeah. If you're watching this in the future, after we're live, we do monitor the comments on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn, and we'll work to reach out to our guests to answer and follow up any questions you have. That's because we love you all, and we love getting to meet you in person. So come see us. Here's where we're going to be next. First up, as mentioned earlier, this week Josh and I are going to be at the ABA Tech Show in Chicago. On March 16th through 18th, I'm going to head back to Atlanta, where I was just recently, helping lawyers redesign their practice from the ground up at Lawyerists LabCon. March 25th through 27th, Josh and I are heading out to Denver, Colorado to be at the Legal Marketing Association's annual event. April 1st through 3rd, backed by popular demand, GNGF is proud to be joining 4 other great legal marketing agencies in Las Vegas to put on the Best Damn Legal Marketing Conference, or Bedlam 2020. That was a great conference last year. I heard they already have like 50 tickets sold. So I think we have 75 is what they were shooting for, so you should probably get registered now if you're interested. Joe, if you drop Josh's email in there, Josh can get you a discount code for, I think, $200 off if you reach out. May 7th and 8th, Josh and I will be on the road again in New Orleans, where we'll be speaking in an advanced digital marketing tactics breakout section at the Small Firm Bootcamp. We'll throw a link in there as well. Ernie the attorney puts this on, and he's going to be joining us on our next show, actually, to talk about getting your law firm on autopilot. May 15th, we will be speaking at the DC Bar Practice 360 event. Whew. That's just the next couple of months. That doesn't include the webinars and the half a dozen awesome guests I've lined up for these Facebook Lives. If you aren't following our page, which you should, by the way, you may not have noticed, but we started a new video series at the end of last year we called the GNGF Tips. So check it out on our YouTube page. Joe, throw a link to our latest video out there. In that video, which just released, I talk all about how to get an ROI with Google Ads when we all know how expensive it can be for legal keywords. Also, the one Chris had about voice search has got a lot of views, so check that out. Check them out. We drop a new GNGF Tips video every other Friday. Okay, let's get to Josh's top questions. Josh, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Mark.
So Josh, I mean, you're out speaking and talking to people on the phone, and you get a lot of questions. So I'm really excited to see what are these top questions you've kind of pulled together that you think are kind of across a lot of lawyers you hear consistently.
I'm sure you can imagine the first one. Is SEO dead?
Well, I mean, we're early in the year too, so I'm sure everybody's seeing all the normal clickbait headlines, right? So, I mean, you have, it's 2020, is SEO dead? And, like, are you still doing SEO, right? There's thousands of articles out there every year at the beginning of the year. I mean, for many, many years in a row, we see these articles. But the truth is that it's not dead. There's a ton of data out there. I think we've got a couple videos we could probably link in here about like is SEO dead. But one of the things that I like to look at is there's a number of data points. I think it's like JumpShot and SparkToro put together something, and they basically show that you can see that over time organic search is declining in terms of the amount of traffic versus paid advertising. So paid advertising is going up. And I think if you look at paid ads, I mean, Josh, you see this, right? I mean, like you see the ad little thing getting smaller. I mean, there used to be like a yellow background behind there. Then the ad was very clear. There's an ad. Now like there's like a little tiny green ad button right next to the URL, almost kind of blends in. So yeah, Google's doing a good job of getting you to click on more ads. But that organic search traffic is still higher. Looking at some data by, I think, BrightEdge, they've got something where they work with like Fortune 500 clients and companies all over the world, and they still show like over 50% of the traffic to all the websites that they have tools and stuff they work with is from organic search, and I think only around 14% is from paid search. So this idea that search engine optimization is dead is maybe fine if you want to not focus on that 51% of searches that are coming to your and finding you to your website. And we've also seen, bringing it back to legal, Josh, I mean, like, a couple of our clients, we've got one, I think out in Denver that spends $7,000 to $10,000 a month in ads, and paid ads like media spend. And they have consistently are double or triple the amount of organic traffic they get versus the paid ad traffic. So even in the legal industry specifically, people who are spending a lot of money on ads and getting a return on that are still seeing significant amount of traffic because of the search engine optimization. So my take is SEO is like a foundation. You want to make sure you're taking advantage of this free traffic by doing the right thing, being the expert out there in the marketplace, in Google's eyes. Now, I guess we can talk about Bing and others. There is 6% traffic that comes from people not Google, right? So yeah, that's what I would go with on is SEO dead. Is like it's not dead. It is actually the foundation for a lot of your marketing strategies.
Actually, you hit on something huge right there, the word foundation. So very often I'm asked, why do I need a new website? Whether it's a potential client or somebody I'm just chatting with that's talking to marketing agencies, I hear this a lot. Hey, I just within the past few years invested in a website, or I got a great deal, or I have this new website. Why can't someone just take it over? I'm really curious what your thoughts are, Mark.
Yes. So and you might have got that right. So people say, I just invested, I just spent all this money on a website, or I had a nice website, I kind of like it. Can you just take it over? So, I mean, first of all, like, yes, sometimes you can. I mean, the answer is, if we look at a website and it's built correctly, all the the core architecture and the structure's right. It's an open source platform like WordPress that we know can be handed off from person to person. Like sometimes we can take it over, and sometimes you don't need a new website. I would say probably, and Josh, I don't know your experience, about 20% of the time that's probably the case, right? Yeah. So or 20% of the time I'd say you keep your website. Unfortunately, though, a lot of people initially had a website built by a company that had a proprietary platform. That's a lot of P's. So it had a proprietary platform, and that proprietary platform means that they can't take it out of that company. So if they decide they want to leave this marketing service, they're stuck with just copying and pasting into a whole new website. And we've got solutions for that, and we understand that cost sucks, and sometimes we will actually, as a service, kind of like meet in the middle a little bit, kind of take a little bit of the hit there because we know that it just really stinks that somebody's stuck in these proprietary platforms, and we want to help them get off and to a better platform. So that's the other reason we oftentimes have to say, hey, you need a new website, even though maybe 2 years ago you just got one in your mind built on this system. But if you don't like the agency and they have a platform you can't move from, you're going to have to build something new. The final reason, though, is one that I think that's a lot rougher to hear or to talk about is, let's say you are on WordPress. And you did put some time and money and effort and you have a nice looking website. So you think, okay, fine. Everything's great. But sometimes when we look at it, people may have used these kind of like WYSIWYG builders. There's a whole bunch of them out there, Divi, some other things. And they're not horrible if you are going to be maintaining this all on your own and doing it and you know how to do it in a way that still manages performance and that kind of stuff. But if you are, giving it to somebody like an agency, like a GNGF or some other agency who really can, goes into like the technical side of things and maximizes every little line of code for search engine optimization, for performance, for, all the mobile speed and everything, the schema markup, right? Those builders actually cause more problems than they do help you out. So when you have those builders, oftentimes we have to kind of rebuild the site because the architecture isn't structured well for SEO. There's actually a lot of code we call code bloat. So it's way heavier than it needs to be, and that causes performance issues. And if we're helping somebody with their SEO and all these other things, that the reason they're having us help manage their website, then performance is a really big deal because it actually does affect the search rankings, especially on a mobile device, which is more than half your traffic, right? So that's a number of reasons why if somebody, like has a website right now and they think they just paid for it and invested in it, they might kind of be told by another agency that, look, we're going to have to rebuild this from the ground up, but it's going to be better for you long term.
Makes complete sense. And it's kind of scary to think with a proprietary platform, you're basically just leasing your website.
Right.
Okay. And so kind of back to something you mentioned earlier about Google Ads, I hear pretty often like, hey, I paid a lot of money for Google Ads, lost thousands of dollars. So why didn't it work for me? And why would I want to even explore this in the future?
Yeah, no, I hear that. I mean, when I'm out speaking at conferences and talk about, paid ads and success people have with paid ads, it is definitely a strategy many people should consider depending on where they are in the maturity of their law firm marketing. But paid advertising, it is one thing, especially with Google paid ads, that if done wrong, if done by the law firm themselves and they don't really have a lot of skills or knowledge and they just kind of go in and start clicking some buttons, if you don't set budgets right, if you don't set caps right, you can quickly spend a ton of money on the wrong keywords on accident. We've talked to people who have run up thousands of dollars in a week, and it turned out that they were bidding on the word lawyer all over the country, right? And just silly things like that. Or we've had seen people we've saved them $10,000 a month because we got rid of traffic that was to keywords like pro bono. So basically, they were paying to get a lead that didn't want to pay money for services, right? So free, discounted, pro bono. You want to make sure you're not focusing on those things. So there's a lot of kind of gotchas when it comes to paid advertising that when you do it on your own, it's one of the few things, and even in our book, we talk about this, that, in our book, I say, look, all this stuff can be done, by somebody at a law firm with a lot of nights and weekend and some, elbow grease kind of stuff, right? But paid ads is one of the areas where you need some decent expertise. And doing some things wrong could cost you a lot early on. And I think that's often what happens is people kind of either do it themselves or they work with maybe a local person that thinks they know Google Ads, or they work with somebody who works with a lot of other small business owners because I'll be honest, to get the landscaping service Google ad is probably going to cost you a few cents a click. To get the car accident attorney Google ad is going to cost you $50 a click, right? So it's just a different marketplace you're playing in. So with our experience in just legal, we've been able to dial it in and we know, how to get a return, as do, many other, really good legal agencies out there, like some of the other ones that'll be at the Bedlam conference we were talking about. I think we'll be talking about paid ads a lot there, especially. So it's something that can work. But I know exactly usually why it didn't work for most people is that it just was set up poorly or they tried to do it themselves.
That makes total sense. I think that a lot of people do not focus on that ROI being actual cases versus just paying for leads. And I think you touched on that. It's something where if you're just getting a lead per se for something you don't even do, your marketing agency might claim that as, hey, we brought you a phone call.
Right.
So that's definitely where that management comes into play. Now, another thing that I get asked a lot, and this is a fun question, is why would I need a long-term strategy for SEO? Why can't you just get me ranking #1 within a few months, do your magic, and make it happen?
Yeah, the magic pixie dust that we have behind the scenes, right? That all us SEO people have some, voodoo magic that nobody else knows about. So first of all, I'll say that SEO is not some behind the curtain magic stuff that only a few people know. In our book we talk about all the core things that go into search engine optimization. You can go to Google's guidelines; they'll say here's the things they really care about. People have gamed things over the years, and sometimes you could game something occasionally and get ranked really fast, only to pretty much disappear in the rankings because if they figure out you game the system, they start kind of either penalizing you or just ignoring your website a little bit. So we like to take the long-term approach of, what are the things that you can put in place, month after month, year after year, that are going to continue to build a strong foundation for your website and not just be this quick set it up in a few months and then, have it fall down, right? I kind of look at it as there's a lot of people out there who sell the kind of get rich quick SEO. And the I'll get you ranked #1 on in a month or two. And then when it turns out people actually like buy those services, and we find out later, that what they really were selling was they got their name ranked, their firm name ranked number one. Well, you know what? That's actually not that hard. You could do that on your own at home, right? But to do the foundational SEO work that's going to start getting your website put in front of the people that don't know who you are, and that need your service, and they're searching, Google for answers about the problems they're having, whether it be going through a divorce or a criminal issue, or starting a business, right? I mean, there's a whole bunch of reasons why people go to the internet searching for answers, where an attorney might be the right solution for them. They just don't realize that yet. So using search engine optimization over the long-term strategy to get those type of clients coming to you on a regular basis is a much, much better plan than to hurry up and get ranked in a month or two and then maybe disappear over time.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, along the lines of a get-rich-quick SEO desire, I feel like not just lawyers, but also myself, because I'm a marketer, right? Like we're inundated all the time with ads and stuff like $2.99 a month for SEO strategies and SEO rankings and no contract, none of this. So why would someone want to pay you significantly greater when they can just go buy one of those services?
Right. I mean, it's a fair question, right? I mean, if I saw an ad for something, for a product I wanted to buy for half the price of what somebody else is selling it for, I would question them, right? So really, you have to make sure you're on apples to apples comparison at the end of the day. And so I kind of talked about some of the kind of get rich quick SEO, and it's out there, and I get it. Those things are very, enticing to go after. But the end of the day, what you're going to get is that much value out of what you're paying. So it takes an investment over time to do work, right? I mean, this is time and effort work. You're thinking about content strategies, working on content marketing, you're doing some link building work, you're building the right structure on the website, you're getting the schema and the code underneath, you're constantly monitoring performance, optimizing images, right? There's a whole host of things that you're keeping track of, and then looking at competitors and saying, oh, the competitors changed, so now we need to adapt to this article that they're now outranking us for. We need to go adapt our article to try to bring it up again. So these are things that for $2.99 a month, thinking about what somebody has to get paid at home and make to take home, $2.99 a month is not going to give them but like an hour or two for your whole SEO strategy a month, if that. There are no magic tools. I mean, if so, we'd all have them and we'd hit buttons and go to sleep and play all day, right? Because but at $2.99 a month or $4.99, whatever it is, the other thing you're getting is you're just buying some package, and you're not really getting something that matters for your firm. Is what I tell people a lot of times. It's about your strategies, your marketing strategies, your business goals, and you really need to think about whether it's SEO or paid ads or anything in your marketing strategy. You need to understand how it fits in your goals. And if you're just looking at it from what's the lowest cost I can get something, there's always the adage of you get what you pay for. And I think in the SEO case, it can be, you can actually get worse than you pay for, because we know that people can actually do damage on your website, like web presence and stuff, by doing the wrong things. So you got to be careful.
I'm with you. If it's offered at a lesser price, I sometimes assume maybe it's a lesser value. So I'm a little skeptical. I look into it a little bit. But speaking of no contracts, at GNGF, we do ask clients to, basically commit to a 1-year contract at a time. A lot of times that's outlined with a scope of work, statement of work. There's a whole, situation there with strategy that's backed behind it. But many law firms ask, why should they do that instead of, working with another agency or another vendor who only asks them to do a month to month?
Yeah, no, that's a really fair question. I mean, we have vendors, right? We're a business as well, and we have vendors, and some vendors require us to sign up for like year-long contracts, and some of them will allow us to do kind of like a month-to-month contract as well. It all depends on what we're looking for, right? So one of the things we did early on, and Josh, this might have been before you were a marketing consultant with us, but we actually did contracts, or no contracts. We did a kind of big upfront amount to cover all the initial work, because as you know, a lot of the work goes in the first 3 months. Like there's heavy work there, and then it's a lot of ongoing work and adjusting and dialing in and stuff. Like as we're looking at the data, the competition, maybe a change in strategy at the law firm, right? So we're looking at that stuff. So we actually used to do that. But the feedback we got was, you know what, I really don't like having this big amount up front. Can we blend that over time? Like, okay, so we started doing kind of like, if we do that, we kind of need to sign a contract to take care of that. What we learned from that is that the people that were willing to sign the contract ended up being our best clients. And I think it was because we were able to look at things over the course of a year with somebody, as opposed to just the next month. So we knew if I have like 12 months that we're working, for some business goal or marketing strategy, I knew that in month 3 or 4, if I needed to do a whole bunch of content work because of something a competitor did, I could go ahead and do that knowing that, there's an investment coming in for the whole year. Then if like some people who have month-to-month contracts would say, hey, I need you to pay me more money this month. And then they don't ever really come back and say, here's money back the next month, right? So we've just kind of stuck with it. It's led to really good clients for us. So it's almost one of the things we use as a filter. I always recommend every law firm to know, what are the things that, the type of clients they should be repelling. So for us, a client we kind of want to repel right now is somebody who isn't willing to kind of like take a year-long process and strategy with us, because we put some work on the law firm too, right? We want to know, about what leads are turning into clients and why aren't people turning into clients and what is the perfect type of customer and who are you looking to bring on from a staff perspective? Is that going to affect intake process, and can we clean that up and work on other things inside? What's your technology changes happening? Do we need to integrate there? Right? There's a whole bunch of discussions that if we know we have a year investment at a minimum. And then, as you know, Josh, a lot of our clients have been with us for 5, 7, 8 years.
Oh yeah.
So that year is almost kind of becoming just a recheck point of just make sure we're on the goals. But it's a good way for us to kind of like say, hey, we're not going to work with somebody who is insisting to think month to month on their marketing strategy. It's just not a good fit for the way we go about our GNGF way process. So, and for other agencies, it might be a good fit for the way that they approach things. I've talked to agency owners who say, well, I don't like year-long contracts because sometimes I get a client I don't want to work with, and a month-to-month allows me to get out. Whereas, we're committing a year as well, not just the client, right? So we're committing that we were going to provide all these deliverables and these goals over the course of a year. It's not just a one-sided year-long contract.
That makes total sense. You mentioned leads, and so that's the next kind of question I'd like to ask you, because this comes up a lot. It's not comical, but almost, because sometimes someone will say, all right, I'm ready to commit all of this money to you. I'm ready to spend all of this per month. You're going to do the heavy lifting. There's going to be a lot going on. So I'm going to be hands off, right? Mm-hmm. So I hear, why should I have to track my own leads? And shouldn't my marketing company be doing all of this for me, just making the magic happen?
Right. Yeah, we hear that. I think some of it's this, lawyers become small business entrepreneur owners by accident because they want to practice law in a small solo firm, right? So if they're kind of running the law firm so that they can practice law the way they want to practice it, they end up kind of becoming a business owner, right? And a lot of times they don't want to think about all the things that come with the business owner, like, marketing strategy, thinking about your marketing, sales. Like, we call it intake process in legal, but it's sales, right? Like it's basically trying to get somebody to sign up and become a client. Like the books, the back office, the operations, the consistent tools and technology to allow you to have a good experience with your client. All these things are required by a business owner to run a successful business. And by the way, you're supposed to practice law. So it's a lot to ask, right? So I get that people just want to kind of, be able to wave their hands and say, all my marketing's thought of, and people are just going to magically become clients. And you'll see sometimes this, like put everything on, like autopilot, and everything magically happens. Now, there's a lot of things you can put on autopilot. There's a lot of great tools and systems and stuff to like streamline things. But what you can't do is put how to find people, get them in the door, and actually turn them into a client all on autopilot. So it's for most firms, that's almost impossible. So one of the things, if we are actually then, as the marketing agency, working on a goal of driving more clients to a law firm, one of the things we need to understand is, what clients are actually, or what leads are turning into clients. Well, there's no way to get that feedback from a lawyer if they're not really thinking about, here's my intake process, here's the leads that are coming in. Here's the people that are turning into clients. Here's the ones that didn't turn into clients. Let's talk about why we didn't take those. Then we can adjust marketing strategies and marketing goals and stuff. But if we don't require the lawyer or law firm to track that information, like you mentioned earlier, the marketing agency may think everything's going great. They're sending leads, they're getting more traffic to the website, they're doing all these great stuff. But at the end of the day, if it's not turning into a client and you don't know why they're not turning into a client, you've got an agency that thinks they're doing a great job and the law firm that thinks they suck. So without having that integration between the leads versus the clients, which requires the law firm to do some work, then you're just going to have consistent. You're either going to get lucky every once in a while, or you're going to have a lot of failed marketing agency relationships. Josh, we have time for one more question, and then we got to kind of wrap up the live here.
Yeah, sounds good. And it sounds like you hit on the point that it's really a two-way street, and that makes a ton of sense. So this question's fun. I get asked this a lot because it seems like a lot of people who are out there shopping agencies or shopping digital vendors or looking for who to partner with tend to really look for who's going to provide the most value. How they weigh that value in their own mind is different most likely, but the question that comes up along those lines are, hey, everyone seems to promise a certain amount of monthly content. Why do you see this differently? Right. So, and again, like from a history perspective, we used to kind of do that because we thought that's what everybody was doing and that's what we needed to do in the marketplace. But it led to be honest, a lot of content that was kind of created that wasn't the best use of the marketing dollar for the law firm. So we stepped back from that and said, there's got to be better ways to do this. So just this idea of a laundry list of, like 8 blog posts, a month, and like 22 social media posts, and this, and we're gonna do this many directory listing. Like there's everybody wants like a deliverable number that they can check off. And I think part of that is because the agency, it actually protects the agency, right? If you have that laundry list of things, they're able to say, I did what I promised, so we're good, right? I delivered you 8 blog posts. I did this. I mean, that doesn't matter if it provided value to your search engine optimization, didn't provide more leads, didn't provide more clients. Maybe it even hurt your brand because the content wasn't great, right? So we looked at it and said, we want to say, what is the right strategy over the course of a year? And that may require some content. And we will take a guess based on our experience that we think it's going to take this much content. But as we get into it and dive into the data and the analytics and the website and the competition, we might come back and say, hey, we're going to, kind of take some budget that we thought we were going to use for here and move it over here because we know now, because we're in the detail and the data and stuff, we know the analytics are telling us we need maybe more content. Or we need, the content's great, so we actually don't need as much content, but we're going to invest in some extra link building strategies now because that's where your next best use of your marketing dollar. Like we want to be great stewards of our clients' money, right? We get that this is an investment and you would be otherwise taking this money home, right? But you need to grow your law firm. You need to continue investing, so that next year is better than this year. Everybody wants to kind of have a little more take home the following year than they did the previous year. So it takes an investment in marketing. But we totally respect that these dollars could be going, home with the, client. It could be helping pay for the private school, the basketball lessons, the whatever, right? So these are things that we take seriously enough that just the way of doing the laundry list of deliverables. And Josh, I mean, maybe it hurts us if you put us up on a laundry list of things and says, we say you need 10 really good pieces of content and a whole bunch of other strategy items. Versus, like, oh, well, this says I'm going to get 8 things a month. So that's a lot more than 10. So they must be providing more value. It's I guess the understanding of value of moving from deliverable to results, and trying to understand why you're getting something. But typically the people that are providing the so many laundry list of things, I wouldn't really call them really agencies as much as like a service provider. They're not really an agent for you as a law firm looking out for your best interest. They're much more just selling a laundry list of stuff. It's probably similar to the people that are selling the $2.99 SEO, to be honest, Josh. If you're still seeing it out there a lot. Yeah, it sounds like it's not too difficult to sell.
Yep.
Well, aside from that, Mark, do we have any time for any other questions?
I don't think so. I mean, I think we're kind of just running a few minutes over already, so we'll probably wrap it up. And again, if you're at the ABA Tech Show and you're seeing this, and then shoot us a message in the chat, and it'll get to one of us, and we'll find a way to meet up. We'd love to connect up, maybe buy you a lunch or breakfast or a cup of coffee. I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of people there. There's a lot of, I think, like Cleo, Jack just launched his book there, and so he's having a big, release party. So there should be some really neat things going on Tech Show this year. So that's I guess we'll wrap it up then, and be sure again to like and subscribe the page, the video, and everything you can. If you smash the like button, we really like that. It helps the algorithm so more people can find this great content. And with that, I think we will see you in a couple weeks.
Hey, what's up? I'm Josh. Thanks so much for joining us. If you feel like you learned something today, think of how beneficial it would be to chat with myself or another one of our marketing consultants one-on-one. Go ahead and visit our website to schedule your free consultation. It only takes a minute.